Okay, so today we're going to be working with this page 81A drawing. We're actually going to be making an assembly out of it. So what I want you to do to make an assembly out of this block is you're going to be making this into one solid block, meaning a rectangular solid. So you're going to actually make a block to fill into this section possibly, maybe a block to fill into this section. Oh, possibly one here and maybe another one here. And you'll kind of see how that goes as we're working with this. So let's go ahead and just get started with making our first part. And hopefully it'll make sense to you as we're getting started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a block that fits into this section right here. To know how big to make this block, I'm going to do a little bit of measuring first. So I'm going to go M for measure. And I'm going to measure this line right here. Oops, I did not get my M for measure hit for some reason. M, measure, there you go. Now it came up. I hit escape there because it didn't go the first time. And that's always your option. Is hit escape and try it again. So I'm going to click on that line. All right, that line is 1 inch long. All right, so I'm going to M for measure again. I'm going to click on that one. That one's 1 inch long also. And then I'm going to click here on this line. And hit escape first, measure, and 1/2 inch. So I need to make a 1 by 1 by 1/2 inch block to fit into this space. So to do that, let's go ahead and start a new drawing. So I'm going to go File, New, and we can just do it right here. What kind of new drawing are we going to want to create? A new assembly, a new drawing, a new part, or a new presentation? Well, you are going to want to do a new part. So we're going to click on Part. I'm going to go ahead and start the sketch. The way I'm going to do this drawing, and there's different ways you could do it, the way I'm going to do this drawing is I'm going to draw it from looking at the top of the object, looking down on it, and I'm going to draw it on this plane. So I'm going to click on that plane to draw, and I'm going to get started. Now, I think you've had enough practice with using the line command for drawing rectangular shapes and all that out there. So let's get past that, and let's just go ahead and use our rectangle command. If you're going to make a square block, rectangle is the quickest, easiest way to do that. Square or rectangular shape. So we're going to click on it, and I'm going to draw it here around the origin. It's going to start in one of the quadrants, drag and drop it to there, and there is my square shape for this one. Again, as always, we need to center this up horizontally and vertically, so we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to click on horizontal. I'm going to do this relatively quickly, but still going to talk you through it on this first one at least, since you have already done this a few times now. So again, remember that perpendicular line has to show up there. I'm going to go to the midpoint, click there, click on my origin, and I go to my vertical, click on my midpoint there, go to my origin, and then hit on my dimension toolbar. I'm going to dimension the width of this, and we just looked at that a moment ago. It was 1 tall by 1 wide, and that's it. Notice it's all fully black. That's good. It's fully constrained. Now remember, I've told you this before, I'm going to go back and grade these, and when I grade them and I find sketches that are not fully black, that are not fully constrained, it's going to cost you 10%. This drawing is going to have a lot of sketches on it. So I really hope that you're paying attention to this and making sure your drawings are all black. We're going to go ahead and finish our sketch. We're going to go to extrude. As always, or as most often, we're going to extrude both ways. And we remember from a moment ago, this was 0.5 thick. So we're going to go 0.5. And there you go. There's my block. Next thing is I want to set this to a material that's contrasting to our other material. So notice down here, my other part's down here. I'm just going to click on it. Remember what it was? Oh yeah, mine's a kind of a wood color, a reddish wood color. So I'm going to go to my part 2. And I'm going to pick a material for this that is not reddish wood color. Okay, gold is not reddish wood color. So there we go. That is very contrasting. I'm going to go to File, Save, and then make sure I save that to the same place as my other one is. I want to make sure I'm in the right folder. I am not in the right folder, so I'm going to go to my correct folder. It's in the practice folder. All right, so there's my first one I did. Page 81 top A, or P-81 top A. That's the first main part of it. So that was part 1. I'm just going to put this one as a -2. So this is part 2. Page 81 top A -2. So this is part 2 of my page 81 drawings. I'm going to go save. Alright, there, that one's done. Let's go ahead and we're going to start a new drawing. So we're going to go File, and New. Now with this, I'm going to go ahead and start my assembly here before I do all the rest of the drawing. So I'm going to go Start New, and I'm going to start a standard assembly. Okay, remember the first step on your assembly is to place your parts. So you're going to go up here to Place. I'm going to go down to that drawing, and once again, I've got to change to a different folder. Page 81 top A, that's going to be my first piece. I'm going to put it in there. And now I'm going to place my other part, -2. Place it in there. Okay. So now both of my parts are placed there. Remember the first part, this part, that's kind of my base part. I want to lock it into place so it doesn't move around. Right now it slides all around. So when you're moving it all around, we need to right click on it when it's highlighted and go down to Grounded and ground that piece into place. Now notice when you try to move it, remember that little thumbtacks on there? You can't move that around. It's locked into place. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put this piece into there. We're going to constrain it into place. So we're going to go C for constrain. First, what I'm going to use is just the mate constraint. So I'm going to mate the top of this to here and apply that. I'm going to go ahead and move it around, see what I just actually did. Notice, okay, it's locked on there. Remember we did this the other day. No matter what, it stays on that surface. Oh, looks like I moved it off the surface. No, I didn't. I just slid it way back. So that one is definitely mated on there correctly. I'm going to hit F6 to get it back to my normal view. And there we go. All right, so now I'm going to lock this in another direction. So I'm going to go constrain again. This one, I'm probably going to use the mate flush. And I'm going to flush this surface of it with this surface. So I'm going to click there and click there and flush those two together and apply. I don't have to close out of this every time. I can just go ahead and do my next one right here. I like you in the beginning to close out and move it around to see how it moves, but right now I think you're probably okay. So I'm going to try to do a mate flush again, and I'm going to flush this side of together. So I'm going to flush this side to this side and apply that. Now I will close it out. Now let's see what we got. All right, look, it's not a circle. It is a circle with a slash through it, meaning it won't move, but it's not pinned into place. It's not grounded. So this one is good. It's constrained fully, but not grounded. All right, so now we got part 2 done. I want you to have a grand total of 5 parts for this. So here is part 1. Here's part 2. I still need to make 3 more parts for this. So here we go. Let's see. My next part, I'm just going to make it go from the top to the bottom here, from the width from here to here, and with this thickness. So let's measure that and see how big it needs to be. So I'm going to measure from here to here, and I measure 1 inch. All right, now I'm going to measure again from here to here, and I measure 1.5. And then I'm going to measure how far out it is. So I'm going to measure that line right there, 0.25. So it's 1 by 1.5 by 0.25 thick. So once again, I'm going to create another new part. So I'm going to go File, New. Whoops, and I got in a hurry there and I clicked there, but I could have went File, New, hovered, and just came right down here and clicked on my part. If you click on New, it goes to the other screen either way. So part. I'm going to start my new sketch. I'm going to do it on this front plane because I'm going to draw it from that front side. Once again, I'm going to use my rectangle. I'm going to draw my rectangle in there. All right. Now next, what's your next step? I want you to think about this for a second before I give you the answer. And the answer is my horizontal and vertical constraints. So I'm going to grab horizontal to start with. Oh, now on horizontal, notice this time, it gives me that parallel line when I hover over that one. So that's not what I'm going to click on. I'm going to come down to here. Now that perpendicular line is appearing. Go to the midpoint, and to my origin. Go to vertical now, midpoint, origin, looking good. We're going to go ahead and dimension this from top to bottom. Do you remember what that was? That was 1.5. Remember, if you don't remember, you can always just click over here and go back to the part A or go back to the assembly, either one. All right, for the width of it, we're going to make that, I think it was 1 1/4. We're going to finish our sketch. We're going to extrude. Again, extrude it both ways. And we're going to extrude this 1/4 inch. Now, we're going to go ahead and set this to a material. Again, some contrasting material to my other two. And stay away from the clear materials or the see-through materials. Sure, just UMWH black. We'll just make this a black one. It ends up being dark gray, but that's okay. All right, so there's that. We're going to go ahead and save this part. So File, Save. All right, what do you guess? This is part A. This is part 2. What do you think? I'm just going to click there to put all that other name in there, and I'm going to put a -3 on there. So we have part 1, part 2, and now part 3. Save that. And I'm going to go ahead and go to my assembly and put it together. So assembly, we're going to place, and we're going to place part 3. All right, first off, I'm going to constrain. I'm just going to mate this to that surface. So mate, C for constrain, the mate option, and bam, mated right there. Okay. All right, next, I'm going to flush the top of it. So I'm going to go constrain, and flush the top to there. Apply that. Beautiful. Now here I am going to cancel out of there and slide this apart a little bit. This one I'm going to mate this side to here. So I'm going to constrain, I'm going to mate that, I'm going to spin it around a little bit, and mate it to right there. And apply that and close out. And let's see what we got. Oh man, I messed up. This thing doesn't stick in there so well. It sticks past that outside edge. I know what it was. I made that thing 1 1/4 wide, and it should have been 1 inch wide. So we made a mistake on that part. So I'm going to go back to part 3, and where I made it 1 1/4, I need to make it 1. So I'm going to go back in here. Whoops, I did not click on the right thing there. Let me try that one again. Whoops. All right, there we go. I want that one. No, I don't. I want this one. Here we go. Okay, so I have this part 3 back up. I need to change that original sketch of part 3. So I'm going to come over here, remember, to the extrusion. Click on the plus sign of the extrusion. Open up that extrusion. And then I want to actually edit the sketch. So I'm going to double click on the sketch. And that 1 1/4 measurement, I want to change it to 1. So again, I just click on that 1 1/4, double click there. And change it down to a 1. Hit my check mark. Looks good. So now I have a 1 by 1 1/4. I'm going to finish my sketch. It adjusted it there. Now I'm going to go back down to my assembly down here below. And notice it still doesn't look right on my assembly. So if you remember from the other day, what you're going to do there is you're going to come up here to this little lightning bolt with a piece of paper on it. Click on that. And now that's updated my assembly. So there we go. We got parts 1, 2, and 3 all looking good on that block. Now we need to make 2 more parts. I really don't care what you do here for these 2 parts. Be creative. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 triangular shaped parts, which that's a new little thing. You don't have to do that. You can make one part that's just this height and another part that's this height, whatever you want to do. But I don't know. I'm going to be creative. I'm going to make a triangle shaped part. So on these last 2, I don't care what you do. You make the decision. So I'm going to use measure. If you want to, just copy what I do. I'm going to use measure. I'm going to measure this line here. That line is 1 1/2. I'm going to go measure again. This line here from there to there is 0.75. So I'm going to make a triangle that's 1 1/2 on the base, 0.75 on the height. So I'm going to go to File and make a new part again. I'm going to start that on the front plane. And I'm going to draw a triangle shape. Now for a triangle shape, you're going to have to use the line command. So I'm going to draw the baseline here and my baseline